All right, I've had a request to do a tutorial on a simulation test that I did where I was generating foam on these high peaks. So just to be quick here, I went ahead and set things up a little bit in advance. Took the basic default cube and added an ocean modifier to it, set my keyframes at the beginning and end, and adjusted the resolution until I get a nice choppy look. Choppiness is a little easier to see the foam to make sure you're doing it right. A couple of things you want to think about is lighting. I kind of did this a little in advance. You want to turn it up fairly bright, use the sun. Lighting's up to you. I just did it so it could be seen. So we want to have the cube selected, and you want to be sure and assign just a basic material to it. Give it a name. One thing for sure, when you're baking your simulation, be sure you have generate foam checked and foamy, whatever name you want to give it, but be sure to give it a name here because that's how you're going to access it. So then using the menu system up here or control left arrow, go into your node editor. You want to get into the textures and you want to have use node selected and you'll have your basic material. We're going to have two inputs coming into this output, so we're going to make a mix node so we can put those together. So we'll go ahead and add that in first. Okay, and I'm trying to make as much room as I can. These can get pretty involved sometimes. So we're going to start with the foam data. So to get that, you want to go to the attributes, and that's in, and let's find it here. I'm still new to this, so input, there it is, attribute. Okay, so we want to, that was called foamy. And we're going to have to take that in and we'll be able to control the amount of the, the strength of the foam, etc. So we're going to add a math node and set it to multiply. And just connect it by clicking and dragging. And then from there we want a range of colors for the surface. So we're going to put in a color ramp and we're going to leave it black and white and connect the input here. And we're going to want to be able to adjust the contrast of the overall surface so that we can get the white to show up more. A person might want to do masking or something later, but so we're going to add a brightness contrast in the color section. And I experimented with this earlier, and for me, I think 2.5 on the brightness, and I gave it a lot of contrast, so that would be a 50 on that one. And then that's your basic foam material or data, and we're going to punch it into this diffuse. And then we want to give the rest of the water a little more look like water. So one thing you might want to do to add some of that look is go into your world and in your background select environment texture. You can get some of these maps off the internet. There's a ton of them out there people are giving away. And I've got one here that I've used a few times. You want to apply that to the world, and it will generate light and help you to see through the water. So at any rate, I used a glass and a glossy modifier, so I'll go ahead and put in a glass shader and put in glossy. I look right at it and can't see it sometimes. And obviously we want to mix those two together, so we'll put in a mix shader. And we'll just set those in here like this. And I believe we can just go right over to here, and let's see here if I need to play around with any settings. I think that's probably going to work. So let's go back over to the main screen, give it a test render, and see what it looks like. Okay, so there's the white areas for the foam, and that will change as it works its way through things. So let me see if I can do a render here, see how quick this will be. Rather than try to set up something really fancy, I'll just do one. I'll keep it low res so it's faster. And we'll just generate it real quick here, and we'll see how long this takes. Actually, I think I need to stop. Yeah, I've got it set to GPU, so I think we're good. This might take a little while. I'll edit out the render time from the video. All right, the render's done, and this is frame 100. Looks to me like a person might be able to use a different kind of material and generate a mountain range with some snow on it. Just an idea there. So at any rate, an important thing to remember is if you're going to keep this video to use it, you want to set this output directory someplace besides temporary. And I've read in the manuals here that it's better to use an image sequence and then put it back together for any post-processing so that before you actually generate your final video. But all that's a different topic. So let's see if we can get this thing to play. There we go. So it looks like we have the foam is being generated on the fly, and it changes as the surface changes. So looks like we achieved the effect we're looking for. There's a graininess here, but I only had the rendering set to about 130 passes for the sake. I didn't want to spend the whole day on the tutorial here. So person might want to try and do some noise in the nodes area to try and soften the edges of the foam a little bit. This is just a starting place. And I had a request to kind of do an in-depth or in detail, how did I achieve this? So there it is. If anybody comes up with a way to make this look better around the edges, I'd be wide open to any input and welcome any help. I've always figured it's better if 50 of us are looking at it instead of one. It gets done a little faster. So anyway, have fun, happy blendering.